Hello, I'm here to tell you about my personal experience in being one of the kids that started vaping really young and how it affected me in general, how hard it has been to try to quit, and just the long-term effects of what it's done to me. I'm very sick, so I might cut the video a few times to be able to blow my nose, and my voice does sound off, but I promise I'm fine. I'm doing great. My last video I filmed for this specific video was like kind of ass, so we're just gonna like dial everything down because it was half an hour long and I do not want to make it that long. So this is the intro you get, and I'm gonna brainstorm for a second, and I'm not scripting this video because I don't feel like it, so I will just be back in, well, for you, like literally half a second. Okay, so how did I start vaping? Like, where did I get it? Why did I want to? What encouraged me? How was the experience? So I had one of my old friends, her older sister was vaping and her parents were vaping, and I always smelled it and I was like, wow, that smells really good. My parents' friends, he always vaped and I was like, wow, that smells really good. Is that like some type of candy? And then like just a lot of kids around me were like talking about it, and like they thought it was cool because it was like a new thing with like the teenagers, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, it smells really good, like maybe I should try it. I didn't know that there was nicotine in it. I didn't know what nicotine was. I didn't know what nicotine did, and I had only been told, like, the only thing I was scared of with cigarettes was that they were disgusting. Cigarettes, they smelled disgusting. I hated the smell of cigarettes. I hated like everything about cigarettes. I was terrified of them. They caused lung cancer. That's scary. Nobody told me about vapes. This was like 2015, 2016. Nobody was telling me about vapes. Nobody was warning us about vapes. So I saw a box mod sitting on my friend's kitchen table, and I was like, oh wow, that's, you know, one of those vape things. Nobody's around, like, I should try that. So I grabbed it and I pushed the button because I knew I was supposed to push the button. I tried to hit it and I breathed it in and it burned. And I was like, that tastes really good, but ow. Ow. So I tried it again. I didn't breathe it in this time, and I was like, wow, that tastes really freaking good. It's got a little bit of a tingle to it. I might try that again. A few weeks later, I ended up like seeing that her older sister's Juul with a brand new mango pod was left on their piano in their, like, the front area of their house right by the door. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take that. So I took the vape and I went upstairs and I took an extra pack of pods, and then I grabbed the charger because I knew how it worked. And it said nicotine is an addictive chemical, and I was like, what's nicotine? What's addiction? I don't know. It tastes yummy. Woohoo! So like I had no idea like the implications of it, and I was hitting it all the time. Like I knew my parents were supposed to see it. I knew nobody was supposed to look for, like nobody would like look for it because I was so young. I knew I wasn't supposed to have it, and like I wasn't really worried about it. And like I had a steady supply. Like her older sister was gonna keep buying more pods, and I could just take one, and I didn't think she'd notice because like her parents didn't care. So I would like take her vapes and stuff, like I would take her pods, and I kept vaping, and then eventually I ran out of my last pod and she stopped using the Juul. So I was like, oh crap, I'm screwed. And I went into withdrawals at the ripe age of 8. So I would like, I didn't have anything to put in them, and I had walked in on my brother. Like I just walked in his room and he was charging his Juul, and I was like, and he was like, you didn't see it, please don't tell anyone, please don't tell anyone. And I was like, wait, let me go grab mine. And he was like, what the fuck? And so I went to my room and I grabbed mine, and I was like, look what I got. And he was like, oh my god, what flavor do you have? And I was like, it's mango, but it's empty. And he was like, oh, I have some, like here, just hit one. And I was like, oh, thank god. And like I was still getting buzzes, like I wasn't really like genuinely like fully dependent on it. Like I would have withdrawals and I wanted to do it, like, but I didn't know, and I wasn't like emotionally dependent on it, just like physically dependent on it. So like I didn't know that I was having to depend on it, but I definitely was. So there wasn't really much of like a stress aspect there where I was like, oh my god, what if I run out of vape juice? What if I run out of vape juice? So it's just kind of like, oh crap, I did. That sucks. Who has one? So I kind of just like figured it out. It was never really a stress for me, and I was slightly dependent on it, but not really. I wasn't really like fully addicted to it. I was just, there just was an addiction, and I wasn't aware of it. So fast forward, let's go forward a few years. So I spent some time in the hospital, and like all the way up to the hospital I switched from Juuls to Alto.
Let me do some.
Goes to puff bars and just kept switching around like elf bars and everything, and I was like, okay, all these are pretty good, you know, and I started actually getting really addicted to them. Not insanely addicted, I was just, you know, addicted to them. So I was already addicted to vaping, and around this time I was like 12. And I started like smoking. Like I already smoked weed once, and that was kind of just like I didn't even really get to take a hit, and I'd never been high, but I started like finding out about carts, and I started hitting those. It was around early middle school, late elementary, early middle school. I'd already taken my vapes into school. I don't do that anymore, thank God, but I had a Juul in 5th grade, and I brought it and I hid it in the school bathroom. Like, crazy stories, I know, but I was addicted to it, and like I was just switching between like whatever wasn't banned yet, whatever like was going on. Then I started getting sent to the hospital, and like for the first like 2-3 hospital trips, I was still like vaping in between hospital stays, and I would hide my vapes really well, and my parents weren't really aware of it at the time. Like, they found out like right before like my 2nd hospital stay. They found a puff bar under my pillow, and they made me smash it with a hammer. But I started like hitting the Ulto, and they weren't really aware that I kept doing it. And when I was in the hospital, I would get nicotine gum prescribed because I'll start withdrawing, and that like really helped me out, to be honest, to stay addicted, which wasn't good. But instead of going through withdrawals, I just had nicotine gum just to keep just enough nicotine in my bloodstream to not go batshit crazy on the other residents. Throughout like basically all my hospital stuff, it was about 3 years.
The storks dropped me on my head.
So from like 12 to 15, like I was always in the hospital, I was always in and out, and like I wasn't really vaping. I spent 11 months straight in the hospital, got out. I met my ex-boyfriend. He wasn't my ex-boyfriend at the time. He wasn't my ex until last year. So we started dating when I was 15 and stopped when I was 16, about to turn 17. And that's a whole nother video to make, but like I had completely gotten rid of the habit of vaping, but I was going to school, and like I would be at school and my friends would have vapes, and I'd be like, hey, can I hit that? And they'd be like, you don't vape, so no, but okay, just one. So then we hit it, and like I wasn't addicted, but I was kind of like, it'd be kind of nice to like have my own, but I really don't want to get addicted. Like I don't want to come back to this. But you know, I'm 15, and it was a craving of mine. Like I wanted to have one again. I craved to be able to hit that vape again. So I keep going to school, and like I'm hitting everyone's vape, and they're like, dude, you gotta stop cheaping ours, like go get your own. I'm like, okay, I'll get my own. I'm not gonna get my own, I don't have any money. Like I kept biking out of the vape shop, they wouldn't sell to me because, you know, I'm a fucking kid. So I kept trying to figure out ways to get the vapes, and eventually ex-boyfriend was in my brother's room because he was my brother's best friend for a very long time. And he was like, am I ugly? And I'm like, no, you're not ugly, you just have really bad eyebrows. He was ugly, I was just trying to be nice. And he was like, oh, can you like fix my eyebrows? You do your eyebrows, right? And I was like, yeah, I do my eyebrows every day, like I can fix your eyebrows, but not for free. And he was like, okay, whatever. So I do his eyebrows, and he's like, okay, how much do I owe you? And I was like, I don't know. And my brother was like, when are we gonna go to the shop? And I was like, wait, you're going to the shop? I want a vape. And he was like, okay, like what flavor? And I was like, just a fruity flavor, I just like the fruity ones. And he was like, oh, okay. So he goes into the shop and he gets me one, because like as far as he knows, as far as he's seen my whole life, because he's known me my whole life, as far as my brother knows, I'm still vaping. So they don't think they're supplying me with anything I don't already have. They're not helping me out at all, they're just making it a little bit more convenient for the week. And like I get the vape, and I'm hitting it like once a day, because like it's making me nick sick, and like it hurts my throat, and I don't have a tolerance, and I'm like, dude, this sucks. Like I wish I did not have the temptation of having this with me. I go on vacation with my mom, and I'm literally on vacation. I have a cart and a vape, and I keep hitting the cart trying to like avoid the vape, but I keep hitting the vape. I will try to put in a clip of that exact vape and like me talking about starting. So I was like 15 at this time, and like I was hanging out with my mama, and I was on this vacation, and I was like, dude, like I really do not want to have this. And I was considering, like, I was trying to convince myself to throw it down the balcony and just smash it, like get rid of it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it because I wanted it. Like subconsciously I wanted it. Like I wasn't addicted to it, but I knew I needed it for some reason. Like my brain was like, you need this, you need this, you need this. And that just shows how addictive they are. I hadn't like been addicted to vaping in forever, and like it still kept coming back. Like I needed to vape, and I was like, dude, this is some crazy stuff. I am 17. I turned 18 in about 2 months. Honestly, more like a month and a half. So like 40 to 50 days I'll be 18. So I'm pretty grown up now, I'd like to say, if I do say so myself. So I feel like I'm comfortable being like I'm one of the kids that grew up vaping, because I kind of did grow up vaping. And I mean, I'm fully developed now, so there's not really much left grown to do except for up here, which isn't really gonna happen because the vaping messed up there so much. I want to throw the vape like off the balcony. I can't do it, and I keep vaping and I keep getting more vapes. Like I'm getting them from this abusive relationship with my ex. Like we've been dating, like we did for like almost 2 years, and I couldn't like get out of the relationship because he was supplying me with vapes, right? And I was like so addicted to vapes, and I had no other way to get them but through him. That's why I was staying, because I was like, oh, I need these vapes, I need these vapes, I need these vapes. I got to a point where like I felt like I couldn't live without a vape, and it's kind of tragic to think about that I spent my entire life sitting there worried about vapes. Like my whole entire life, something has been going on in my head about vapes. It's always been about vapes. Nowadays, I've gotten to the point where I am still vaping. I tried to quit, and just like my brain, I went 3 hours and it just shut off. Like I couldn't think. All I could do was cry and be mad and be distraught, and I needed a vape, and I needed that vape. I needed that vape so bad, and I had to, like, I couldn't be in the light. Any light would burn, and I felt like I was dying. Like I felt like my brain was melting inside my head after 3 hours. The only time I can go more than 2 hours without hitting a vape is if I'm sleeping. And even then, my dad literally was sitting up here, like, waiting for me to wake up for school, and I would reach under my pillow, and I pulled out the vape, and he was like, now I know how addicted you are, because I was literally half asleep. Like, I wasn't even awake. I was literally asleep, hitting the vape, and my dad was sitting there watching me. And that, we'll get to that, but I can't, like, figure out how to quit. Like, it's so deeply ingrained in my brain chemistry. The situation with my parents, like with all the vaping stuff, is like they'd found a few vapes like during like middle school time, and like they destroyed them, and they didn't really think it was that big a problem. Like, oh, she found another one, like where the hell are you getting these things from? Like, we're gonna destroy this. And like, it honestly did help like prevent the addiction from, you know, surging around that time, and helping me like get away from it for so many years, along with like the hospital keeping me out of like the cycle. Like I was like, wow, I feel so much better without it, even though I really do want it. And my parents never found out that I was vaping when I was a kid, because I didn't know to look for it. Nobody's looking through their 8-year-old's room like, where's the vape, where's the vape, I know you have a vape in here, or I wonder what she's hiding. Like, they might clean your room, but they're not going to be, like, looking inside your stuffed animals, like, where's the vape, where's the vape, where's the vape, you know? And it just wasn't really anything that, like, they could have prevented, because they didn't know. Like, there was no way for them to know that they had to prevent something like that, or look out for something like that. It was just, like quite the crazy experience to, like, know that that happened to me in my childhood. But my parents were very present. I was just like a very active kid. I was always out doing something. I was always in a sport. I was always playing with my friends, having the sleepovers. So they didn't really feel like they had any reason to like check up on me. I was so happy. I was always running around. I was having such a good time. And like, I did start cutting really young too. I started cutting around the same time I was vaping. But like, my parents were like, she's just going through a phase, you know? It's just a phase. Because I have like these tiny little like scratches on my arm. And they quickly learned that that also wasn't a phase as well with the vaping. So they started to cut, like, crack it down. Like, they were always going through my stuff. They were always looking for razor blades. They were always looking for vapes. And now, of course, they know I'm clean. I've been clean for a very long time now, about 1.5 years. I survived, but I'm still vaping because they have tried so hard to get me off of these things. They've put me so much nicotine gum. They've tried so hard to take me to the doctors, put me on medications to help stop the addiction, but I can't do it. I'm definitely going to do my best. I was supposed to go to my grandma's this summer for a week with my mans to quit vaping, but that didn't end up happening. But in general, like, my parents, like, they trust me to stay clean with like, self-harm. They know that I've been keeping up with, like, keeping myself healthy. I've gotten off all my medications, and they're like, okay, she's doing so good. We've never seen her do this good, like, in literally forever, like, nearly a decade. She's never been doing this good. And, like, if the vape is still there, at least there's hope that she's doing better. Like, they've given up on trying to stop me because I'm still gonna go get another one. They take away the one I have, I'm just gonna go get another one, and they don't know where I'm gonna get the next one from, and they don't know if it's gonna be a dangerous one, so they just let it happen. They've kind of given up, and I feel really bad about it. They shouldn't have to give up, but I'm gonna do my best to get rid of them. It's just extremely difficult for me having such a long-standing, like, full-on, like, life dedication to these things. One thing I would like to point out about vaping for so long is that these things are not 5% nicotine juice. Like, I have 5% actual nicotine juice, like, in the bottle. I can go grab them. This is 4.8% nicotine, and this is 5% nicotine. So both of these are, like, they're literally, like, so little nicotine to me that I can eat them. Which, if you know anything about vape juice, that's crazy. So these are actually 5%, and these have no impact on me. Like, I do not get a buzz from them. I do not get nick sick from them. These Geek Bars, these Geek Bars are, like, the only, like, nicotine product that actually gives me some sort of buzz, and I have to, like, actually, like, to get the buzz from them. Like, I'm so insanely addicted to these things. These are, like, oh my god, I have to blow my nose so bad. Yeah, these Geek Bars, like, they're literally 25,000 puffs. You can hit these 25,000 times before they go to 0. And I can go through these in a week if I'm, like, holding back. The fastest I've ever gone through one was 2 days. And I just felt nothing. Like, it doesn't affect me. Except for, like, you know, of course, not being able to fucking breathe. But, like, it doesn't, like, I don't feel it, you know? Like, I don't feel the vapes. This is one of the newer vapes that have replaced the newly banned Geek Bar. And I can go through these pods. This one is empty, but I can go through these pods in, like, typically, like, a few days to, like, maybe a week or so is how long they normally last me. And that's really concerning because I don't, like, get buzzed. Like, I can sit here and just, like, and I don't feel one bit different. So vapes do not affect me anymore. The only thing that affects me is if I don't have them. That's how severely addicted I am to these things. And I can tell you, I can guarantee you, these are at least 20%, if not 30% nicotine. Because if I get a little bit of this juice on my tongue, it burns. Like, it burns so bad that I can feel it on my tongue. And the actual 5%, I can't. These will give me some sort of effect. Like, I can feel it. Like, I can feel, like, a different sensation, but I don't get nick sick. I don't get buzzes anymore. These are so highly addictive, the Geek Bars. Insanely addictive. Specifically, the Pulse X are insanely addictive. And the fact that you can put them on like a higher, like they can expel more smoke, like more and more strong smoke, is horrifying. These things are so insanely addictive. Please, for the love of God, stay away from these things. And basically just what I want to say is vaping for so long has created like this lifelong, like intense dependency on them. It's created a bunch of physical problems. It's hard for me to breathe. I have a lot of mucus buildup in my lungs. I do have autonomic dysfunction, which I don't know if that's related to the vaping. It's likely also due to the eating disorder, but really it's just like growing up like that, it caused a wedge between me and my parents. Like for a long time I didn't want to go anywhere with my parents because I couldn't hit my vape, and I would like freak out if I couldn't hit my vape. Like I didn't want to do anything because I couldn't hit my vape while I was doing it. So like there were so many life experiences I missed out on because of the vape. Like these things will ruin your life, and having such an adult experience so young is actually horrifying to think about. Like a little kid suffering from such a like insane addiction is absolutely bonkers. And we need to like actually like look for these in kids' rooms. Like that sounds insane. Like we shouldn't be looking for vapes in kids' rooms. But kids are gonna vape. They're gonna find them. They're gonna find a way to get them. Somebody's gonna give them to them. They're gonna find them somewhere on the side of the road. I found mine on the side of the road one time. Like I found vapes on the side of the road all the time, and I'm like, oh cool, vape. I walk past one now, but when I was a kid, I didn't. It's so easy for kids to be like, oh yeah, mom does that, or oh yeah, my brother does that, and hit it. And the only way to prevent them is to actually go to them and be like, hey, so I know like these things smell really good, right? Yeah, they're horrible. It explains them the actual physical dangers, the effects they have, how disgusting they actually are, how they burn, how people can tell like when they look at your throat, like they can see the burns in your throat. Like we have to educate children and keep an eye out on them to make sure they're not doing this stuff. You have to actually like, you cannot trust that a kid is too young to do something. No kid is too young to do like half the things that they could be doing that they're not supposed to. Kids will find a way, and kids won't know what they're doing, which is the harm in it. If someone had sat down and told me how terrifying vapes were, instead of just being like, oh no, those things are gross, or oh yeah, they smell good but they're gross, because the way we got turned off the cigarettes was by saying they were disgusting. But these don't look, sound, or taste disgusting. They taste amazing, so how could they hurt us the same way as cigarettes? So really just keep an eye out on kids. Like if you have a younger sibling, make sure you're always like keeping up with what's going on with them. Like I'm not saying go through their room, but just try to keep an eye on them. Like warn your parents about like the actual genuine epidemic of younger and younger kids starting to vape. And if you want, you can share this video with them to share like how I hid things, because I would literally just keep them like in my back pocket, just sticking out, because my parents were like, I wonder where she found that, or like, what is that? I'd be like, oh, it's like a charging port, because nobody was like really educated on it at the time. Nobody was expecting it, but I feel like people expect it a little more now, so I'm a little less worried about it, but I'm still worried about it because it's getting so common. In general, keep an eye on your kids, on your siblings. Look out. Good luck. And send those to a mom somewhere, I guess. Bye bye.